And what's going on, guys? Joedor here, bringing you a tutorial video. This time we're talking about how to import your Pokemon from the Smogon website as well as from Pokemon Showdown into your Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire X and Y game files. For those of you who have seen this already, my old video that I uploaded a few weeks ago, that was using the tubehax method, and in case you guys haven't realized, the tubehax method is no longer working. They patched it just today. You had to update your YouTube app, and it no longer works. So I'm going to be showing you guys a new method that is actually, I found out, easier to work with than anything else. So whether you're new to this process or you tried tubehax before, you should be fine either way. So I'm going to teach you both, or both groups how to do this. So this method is called Browserhax, and it primarily involves using the internet browser, as well as a link that I'll put in the description, of course, with how to do that. So basically what we're going to do is you would want to start by downloading the Dropbox link that I have. Again, it's the same files that I had before. If you've already got the tubehax stuff from before, you don't have to download it, but it's these four files right here: the 3DS folder, the save data backup folder, the boot.3dsx, and the game config folder. And you want to take all of those and have them ready to stick on your SD card on your 3DS before going any further. So it should have the Nintendo 3DS folder, and then all the other folders should be outside that folder but on the SD card. So that's the first thing you need to do before you do anything else. Once you have that ready to go, if you don't have a 3DS, obviously if you don't have a SD card of some kind, this is going to be a little difficult for you. You need to either have an SD slot on your computer, or you need to have some kind of adapter like I've got. I don't want to pull it out because it's plugged in currently. But I'm going to go ahead and take this down. So this is the method that we're going to be using. I'm going to go ahead. First thing you want to do is, if you did use the tubehax method before, is go ahead and set your DNS back to auto config. If you didn't, if this is brand new to you, don't worry about that step. It doesn't mean anything. So now that we've got that done, we're going to go into the internet browser. And the first thing that you want to do is make sure that if you have used it a bunch, that your cache, your cookies, everything like that's all reset to default. You should have the default screen when you pop in. We want Google to be the search engine because Yahoo's a joke. And let's go into the browser. You want to go to URL, and in the URL, this URL will of course be in the description, but the URL you want to go to is http://yls8.mvall.com. And by the way, shout out to the 3DS hacks subreddit. Those guys are awesome. They're definitely the reason I'm able to figure out how to do this, because they had it written out. Basically, part of the reason I made this guide was so I could help out those who were struggling to figure it out there as well. So 3DS Browserhax, OWSERHAX.php. PHP is what we're looking for. So you click that, and it should take you to a web page that looks like this. And I'm gonna bring up the web browser here because this is what the web browser. This is what it looks like on the actual web browser. As you can see here, you've got a QR code if you want to try and do it. But basically what you do is you click on a supported browser. You can go here and do that on either the old or the new 3DS. I specifically am going to be showing you guys the old 3DS method because I have two old 3DS XLs that I'm using. I don't have a new 3DS. If any of you guys want to click this with a new 3DS and just tell me what happens in the comments, I can go ahead and annotate that, and you guys will know what to do. But for the most part, I think it actually might be easier with the new 3DS. You might just be able to click it and it might be able to go. But with the old 3DS, you have to use a, I guess, a technique, what's called slider hacks, which is what I'm going to be showing you. So go back to the 3DS, where it says you can go here. We're going to click on that, and this part's very important. You're going to see a slider pop up right on the window. You're going to zoom in as much as you can. So when you zoom in, it should look like this. You just have a little slider on the left side, and what you're going to do is there's a little boundary as far right as you can click. You want to click right here, except on the slider itself. And then right as you click it, it's going to try and freeze your 3DS. But what you're going to want to do is, as soon as you click the far right end of the slider, you're going to press A a bunch of times. You're going to repeatedly tap it. If you did it right, your screen should turn yellow. And when it'll do that, it'll go into the Homebrew channel. So we're going to do it real quick. I got my A button ready. And it might obviously mess up a couple times. As you can see, it did with me just now. So we're going to pop back in. Okay, and we're back. So what I did was you can swap out the 3ds browserhax.php if you are on an old 3ds. And you can just type in sliderhacks.php and it'll take you directly to this screen. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to add a bookmark. So in case I mess this up again, we can just go right back to the bookmark and try again. So here we go again. I'm going to do it with... There we go. So it went yellow, so it works this time. As far as I'm aware, maybe. Give it a minute. Give it a minute. Give it a minute. Yep, there we go. And we get the same exact screen we used to see when we got the 3DS tubehax method to work. So this is the Homebrew launcher. This is where you're going to be doing all your save data manager stuff for your Pokemon file or for your Animal Crossing file or whatever other games you're trying to edit here. So if you successfully put the save data file or save manager onto your 3DS and got all that taken care of before, you should have this little app on the bottom here, the save manager. If you don't see save manager, you didn't enter all the files in properly. You forgot the save manager. It's kind of hard to do. It's kind of hard to get to this screen while forgetting that, but if that's not there, that's what happens. So we're gonna click on save data manager. And now we have the option of picking the game that we want to mess with. So I'm going to pick, oh, not the Sonic. Yeah, let's mess with the Sonic Boom demo, said no one ever. So we have the Pokemon Omega Ruby game. I'm going to click on it. And it's going to take us to another screen, where it's going to have backup, import, or exit. So you're going to want to press A to back up. That's how you actually back up your game. B to import, to pull in finished save data that you've already edited in PKHex. And X to exit out. So we're going to press A. And what I just did is, once again, for those of you who've seen the old method, this is nothing new, but if you're brand new to this, what I just did is I basically took the file that's in the cartridge for the game, and I forced it to back up onto the 3DS. So now on my SD card is a main folder that we'll be using a main file to get this to work. So I'm going to cut away from this for a minute. Note that I am going to be using my other 3DS for this, so I'm just going to show you the steps here. My SD card is too big on this one to fit in my adapter because I don't have an SD card slot, so just know that I'll be using... it's the same result, you're just not going to see the exact mon that I create in the game. You're going to see one that I already created with the exact everything good to go. So don't worry about that. So anyway, we're going to pull up PKHex, but before we do that, we're actually going to pull up Smogon. There's two ways that you can get your files that you need for making your Pokemon that you want to make. The one way is in Pokemon Showdown, which I showed you guys in the last video, but an easier way, believe it or not, is to go straight into Showdown. And I honestly was kind of silly that I didn't touch on it before, because it's the exact same, it's actually more efficient. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an Infernape here. Why Infernape? Infernape's my favorite Pokemon. Why the hell not? And we're going to go down and I want to make a Choice Scarf set. With Blaze, Jolly Nature, U-Turn, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Close Combat, Flare Blitz, one or the other. With full investment in attack and speed, as well as a tiny bit in special defense. So easy way to do it, you just click export and voila. You have the set all ready to go. And for those of you who watched my previous video, note that there's no extra spaces on this one, so you don't have to worry about a glitch, which I'll touch on that more in a minute here. When you create your Pokemon in Showdown, for those of you who know how to do it in Showdown, it's really simple. In the team builder section, you'll often find the moves will have a bunch of extra spaces on the end of them when you have your import-export lines ready to go. So to do that, you literally just gotta delete those spaces before you copy and paste everything. Otherwise, you run into unhandled exceptions when you are actually making the Pokemon, which is not what you want. So we're going to open up PKHex, and note how this is exactly the Infernape that I'm going to be trying to make. It's already on my game, but know that we're going to be making the exact set. So I'm going to press Control-click on Species here, and it's going to pop up, do you want to import this set? I'm going to show you guys what that looks like real quick. So it should look something like this. Do you want to import the set? Yes, absolutely. And then we go ahead, let me take that down real quick. So we go over to a blank box, or the blank box, here we go. Box 1, you have keyboard shortcuts that you can utilize. When you press shift click, you will automatically drop the Infernape or whatever Pokemon's right here in this set, you will automatically drop it into the box. I can do that as many times as I want. If you press Alt-click, you will delete, and if you press Control-click, and you can't really tell here, but if I click Control-click, it'll pull up a different set. It'll pull up whatever pulls up whatever set you clicked on. So I want to do Control-click on Infernape while we're editing him here. So now that we've got the Infernape that's already, you can tell it's already good to go from the IVs and EVs are all set properly. The relearn moves are already set properly. You don't have to do this part, but generally if you're switching Pokemon, like if you pull up a Gardevoir set and you're editing it to be an Infernape or something like that, you generally want to take the relearn moves and just wipe them clean, because if you have a relearn move that the Pokemon can't learn, you're going to run into all kinds of problems. So basically we've got that set. I'm going to click on PP ups here. That knocks it up to 3 PP ups, so you have maximum PP on your Pokemon. If for any reason your IVs were all screwy, like you click randomize IVs and they're not perfect, all you got to do is click Control-click on randomize IVs and boom, they're perfect. And on OT, this is where you're going to enter your trainer ID. If it's something random, some random trainer ID, and you want to make it your own, you just Control-click OT. Oops, just popped up an exception, but it still worked. You just click on, you Control-click OT, and it's working. And it just brought me right back to my trainer ID that's on the game. So I'm going to click that, make a little star there. And we've got the attack, we've got the stats, we've got the Met conditions. This part's important. So, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to do it with legendaries as well. Just because I actually had finished another video for this, but then this happened, so I figure I might as well combine them into one video, because there's no point in making 2 videos. So, before we finish with Infernape here, I'm going to go grab Cresselia. Where's Cresselia? There's Cresselia. We're going to go grab Cresselia, because it's in a legendary. And we're going to go grab Gengar, because it's an event. So I'm going to show you guys how to do events and legendaries all at the same time. So, granted, not all of these legendaries and not all the events will be the same, but this is kind of the basis that you're going to be working with. So, let's start with Infernape first. Basically, when you make your Met conditions for an Infernape, you want to make sure that anything that can be bred, you might as well say you bred it. It just makes it that much easier to say. I mean, if you bred a Pokemon that was 6 IV, it's a lot more legit than if you caught a Pokemon that just happened to have 6 IV. Like, come on, that's like you won the jackpot in a casino or something like that. That's a little ridiculous. So what you want to do with your Infernape is you want to click where it says Met date. You set that to today. There's a pop-up menu that doesn't show up here because of the capture software. You want your found in a Pokeball, met at level 1, and you want your origin to be whatever game you're playing, and then wherever the daycare is located, or not the daycare. Actually, yeah, there is a daycare in the Battle Resort. Never mind. Wherever the daycare is located. So in this case, it would be the Battle Resort. That's just an easy place to do it. You can, in theory, put any Met location if it's bred, but it's usually just easier to do that. And then for the egg Met conditions, you can put today, but then go ahead and subtract a day or 2 just to make it that much better. You could probably do the same day and it wouldn't matter, but that's just an easy way to do it. So this will not cause any problems when I use this Infernape. It will not have any problems wonder trading. It will not have any problems battling, battle spot, none of that. It will be detected in the game as a legit bred Pokemon. So I'm going to give it its nickname Tyson. This is because that's what mine's nicknamed. Got my region. Everything here is good to go. Just making one final check. The attacks didn't PP up for some reason, and this didn't save, so let's go fix that real quick. And the OT is there. Everything is good to go. So once you have your set, generally you want to re-roll the Pokemon ID a couple times just to make sure it's totally random. Click Shiny if you want it shiny, and shift-click it into the box. So there we go. We have our shiny Infernape named Tyson, and that is exactly what we're trying to achieve here. So I can make as many Tysons as I want with that exact set. I'm only going to make one. I already have it ready to go. I'm just showing you guys how to make it as well. So next is legendaries. Now legendaries are slightly trickier, obviously, especially if you're trying to make it a 6th gen. With Cresselia, I'm not even sure how to make it a 6th gen. I'm not trying to make it a 6th gen. So you can tell here this one doesn't have a pentagon. But to get Cresselia to be 6 IV, hold on, this one doesn't have the nickname I wanted. Cress. There we go. I like naming them Cress. Why? Because lame. I'm lame. Whatever. So, we've got our completely battle ready. Like, let's pretend you already copied in the set from Showdown that you want, or from Smogon's website that you want it to be. So you've already got the IVs, EVs all ready to go. You've got your attacks all ready to go. You've got your OT all ready to go. Everything's good to go. But what is important here is the met conditions, especially on a legendary, because if you get this wrong, if you say you caught it in a way you can't catch it, it will ding it as a phony, as a illegit, and you won't be able to use it. You won't be able to wonder trade it or anything like that. So with Cresselia, and you can look these up individually for each Pokemon, basically go to their Bulbapedia page and just check and see how you find them and at what level. For instance, like if you found a Thundurus, it would say Alpha Sapphire and level 50 soaring in the skies. That's how you find it. Now with Cresselia, you could go Platinum, Poketransfer, Cotton and Master Ball, that seems pretty legit, level 100, and at whatever met date you want it to be. Just make sure it's after the game came out, that game, so you don't say you met, even though it came out in Platinum, you don't say you met it in like 2005, because it'll ping you on that. You don't want that. So we've got that taken care of. So Cresselia is good to go here. Basically what you need to do is you just need to make sure you understand the correct meet conditions for each one, and you can find them all on their Bulbapedia pages. That's generally the easiest way to do it. So it doesn't really matter. The only thing important here is don't have your, if you find it in a different game, actually no, now that I say that, it's perfectly fine right there. It's got the it's got my ORAS original trainer, yet it was found in Platinum, and the game doesn't detect it as any problem. It doesn't care. As far as it's concerned, I had a Platinum with that exact trainer ID. You just got to make sure when you have a legendary that came from a different game that you have latest not OT handler right in here as your current name. It doesn't really matter as long as this isn't blank. It doesn't detect that it's phony. It detects that it did pass from one trainer to another, and that's what you want. So now that we've got that, we need to look at the legendary, or the event, which is this Gengar right here. So this is the Halloween X and Y Gengar from, or not X and Y, the Halloween Gengar from October 2014. And that's the one that we're going to be looking at. Basically, the trainer ID for this one has to be 10134, shiny ID 00524, with an OT of October 2014. That just shows that it's the exact one that was given out by the giveaway IP address when you originally got one through your GameStop or whatever the ending, however you got it. So with this Gengar has to be shiny, and it has to know Shadow Ball, Sludge Wave, Taunt, and Destiny Bond when you find it. The moves don't really matter as much. Just make sure that Sludge Wave is a relearn move, and Astonish can be a relearn move as well. Just because that proves that it was the event set and not anything else. If you try to make an event Pokemon that is not having all the criteria to be that event, it will still ping it as illegit. So you got to be extra careful about that. So met conditions with this one, X, Y, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. I think it has to be X or Y specifically because Omega Ruby came out later I think it came out next month. So met condition would be a lovely place found at a Dusk Ball at level 25, not as an egg obviously, and found on during the period that the event was going on. So you don't want to say you caught it after the event happened because that'll ping it, and you don't want to say it happened before the event happened because that'll ping it as well. And it's a Fateful Encounter if it's an event. Make sure you have Fateful Encounter if you ever received it from a mystery gift or something like that. So with this one, oh, I just realized its IVs aren't set, or its EVs aren't set, whatever. So 252, 252, and 4. Oop, that's a 7. 4. There we go. That was beautiful. So let's just go drop it in place. So now you understand how to get your Gengar working, or your events working, your legendaries working, and your breedables working. Breedables are obviously the easiest, so if you run into problems, it's probably because you're trying to do it with a legendary or an event and you're doing it wrong. But if you are still having problems with just breedables, leave a comment and I'll try to help you guys out just like I did with the last video. I will try to respond to as many comments as I can, but if this blows up, obviously I won't be able to do that too much. So anyway, now that you have your party filled out here, what you can do is you can mess with your boxes, your items, anything like that, your wonder card, anything you want while you're here. Just be careful to not do anything that would make it an illegal game file or anything like that. Just don't mess it up, basically. If you're going to do it, make sure you do it right. And then once you're done, you're going to go into Save and Exports SAV. But before we do that, if you want to save any of these sets that you've built, you just click on, let's say, the Cresselia, for instance. You click File here, and obviously there's a pop-down menu that you can't see with the capture software, and there's a save as option, and you can save it as a PK6 file for your computer. So if you put a different game in, like say you don't have Pokebank, if you put a different game in and edit the main file on there, you can just load the PK6 file and have that Pokemon in that game as well. That's another thing you can do. So now that we've got this going, we're just going to hit export SAV, and we're going to save it over the main file in the SD card. Now note, I'm not actually going to be saving it just because I already have the Homebrew software here and I've already got those Pokemon made. I just did it because I don't want to have to deal with 2 different DSs due to my SD card being bigger. But now we go back down to Save Manager, so you're going to do the exact process that you just did, which would be steps 4 through 9 to get you back to the Homebrew menu. You go to the Save Manager file, you go to Omega Ruby, and where it says backup save data or import save data, you're going to import this time, so you press B. I'm just going to press X because I'm not changing anything, and then you should be good to go. So I'm going to press start, reboot back to the main menu of my 3DS, and I'm going to open up ORAS just to show you that it does indeed run and that this is what the end results should look like. So give me 1 second, we're going to fast forward. Alright, so as you can see here, this is the Cresselia that we went to create. This is the legendary Cresselia. Obviously it's not the exact one I made, it's not the exact file that I made, but it is the exact same set. All of the stats are exactly the same. I just didn't, like I said, it was just a convenience thing. We've got the event Gengar right here, and we've got the Infernape that we created before. If you did it right, your Pokemon should pop up in the box that you put them in, so obviously I didn't do it with this file, there's nothing here, but it should go into box 1 if you did it right, if you drop them into your box 1. So with that in mind, that concludes this tutorial. Just know that if for any reason the Browserhax gets patched or anything like that, I don't know how they're going to do that, probably a full system update, but if they ever do that, I'll be working as best as I can to find another method, because I don't want homebrewing to die. I don't want you guys to be able to get your pokes the way you want them. So with that, I will conclude this tutorial here. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. Like I said before, I will be answering them as fast as I can. And with that, I will see you guys in the next tutorial video. This is Joedor signing out, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.